Hello and welcome to the Scroll of Uplift. Today, we are talking about something deeply personal and often difficult: healing from toxic relationships. This is not a quick process. It is not something that resolves overnight. It is a gradual return to yourself, to your clarity, to your sense of stability, and to your ability to trust your own thoughts and feelings again. If you have experienced a toxic relationship, you may already understand how it can affect you, not just in obvious ways, but in subtle, lasting ways. It can change how you see yourself. It can change how you interpret situations. It can influence how you respond to others and how you respond to yourself. Healing begins with acknowledgement. Recognizing that what you experienced was harmful or unhealthy is an important step. Sometimes this recognition comes quickly. Other times it takes time. You may question your own memory. You may wonder if you are overreacting. You may minimize what happened. These responses are common. When you have been in an environment where your perspective was challenged or dismissed, it can become difficult to trust your own understanding. But healing begins when you allow yourself to see the situation clearly, without minimizing its impact. What you experienced matters. Your feelings are valid, and your response to that experience deserves care and attention. Toxic relationships often involve patterns that create confusion, inconsistent behavior, mixed signals, periods of connection followed by distance or criticism. Over time, this can create a sense of instability. You may begin to question what is real. You may try to adjust yourself to maintain peace. This adjustment can come at a cost. You may silence your needs. You may avoid expressing your thoughts. You may prioritize the other person's reactions over your own well-being. These patterns often reflect your effort to maintain connection, to resolve conflict, or to create stability in an environment that feels unpredictable. But over time, these patterns can distance you from your own sense of self. Healing involves returning to that sense of self, and that begins with awareness. Notice how the relationship affected you. Notice your thoughts, your emotional responses, your habits, and your patterns. Notice where you feel tension, hesitation, or doubt. This is not about analyzing every detail. It is about gently understanding what has changed and what needs attention. You may notice that your confidence has been affected. You may second-guess your decisions. You may feel uncertain about your boundaries. You may hesitate to trust your own judgment. These are common effects, and they can be addressed step by step. One important part of healing is rebuilding trust with yourself. This does not happen all at once. It happens through small, consistent actions. Each time you make a decision and follow through, you reinforce your ability to rely on yourself. Each time you listen to your instincts and act on them, you strengthen that connection. Start with simple choices. What do you need today? What feels supportive? What feels uncomfortable, and why? Answering these questions honestly begins to rebuild your internal clarity. Boundaries are another essential part of healing. In toxic relationships, boundaries are often ignored, challenged, or discouraged. As a result, it can feel unfamiliar or difficult to set them again. You may worry about how others will respond. You may feel uncomfortable prioritizing your needs. But boundaries are not a form of rejection. They are a form of self-respect. They define what is acceptable to you and what is not. They protect your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. And they allow you to engage in relationships in a way that feels stable and clear. Start small. Practice saying no in low-pressure situations. Practice expressing preferences. Practice taking space when you need it. These actions may feel unfamiliar at first. That is part of the process. Over time, they become more natural. Healing also involves understanding patterns. You may reflect on the relationship and ask, what did I tolerate? What did I ignore? What did I hope would change? These questions are not about blame. They are about awareness. Understanding patterns allows you to make different choices moving forward. It allows you to recognize early signs of imbalance. It allows you to respond more quickly. It allows you to protect your well-being more effectively. Another important part of healing is processing your emotions. You may feel anger. You may feel sadness. You may feel relief. You may feel confusion. All of these responses are valid. Emotions do not need to be rushed. They do not need to be forced into resolution. They need space to be acknowledged and understood. Journaling can support this process. Writing about your experience helps you organize your thoughts. It allows you to see patterns more clearly. It gives your emotions a place to exist outside of your mind. You might ask yourself, what did this relationship teach me? What do I want to experience differently moving forward? What boundaries would support me now? These reflections create clarity, and clarity supports healing. It is also important to recognize that healing is not linear. Some days will feel steady. Some days may feel heavier. You may feel like you have made progress and then find yourself revisiting old thoughts or emotions. This is normal. It does not mean you are moving backward. It means you are processing at a deeper level. Be patient with this process. Healing takes time, and each step, even the ones that feel small, contributes to your overall progress. Support can make a significant difference. Talking to someone you trust, whether a friend, a mentor, or a professional, can provide perspective and reassurance. It allows you to express what you experienced without judgment. It reminds you that your experience is real and that your response is valid. You do not have to carry everything on your own. Self-care is also essential. This includes basic practices, rest, nutrition, movement, but also emotional care. Giving yourself time to pause, creating moments of calm, engaging in activities that feel grounding and supportive. These actions are not distractions from healing. They are part of it. They help regulate your nervous system. They create stability. They support your ability to process and respond with clarity. Another part of healing is redefining your expectations. You may have adapted your expectations in the relationship to maintain stability. You may have accepted less than what you needed. You may have adjusted your standards to avoid conflict. Now, you have the opportunity to reassess. What do you expect from a healthy relationship? What feels respectful? What feels consistent? What feels supportive? Clarifying these expectations helps guide your future choices. It creates a standard that supports your well-being. Trusting others again may take time. After a toxic relationship, it is natural to feel cautious. You may hesitate to open up. You may look for signs of instability. You may question intentions. This caution is understandable. You do not need to rush trust. Allow it to develop gradually. Observe consistency. Notice how you feel over time. Trust is built through repeated experiences of safety, respect, and clarity. Give yourself the time to observe those patterns. At the same time, continue to strengthen trust in yourself. Your ability to recognize what feels right and what does not is one of your strongest tools. The more you listen to that internal guidance, the more confident you become in your decisions. Healing also involves letting go, not necessarily of the memory, but of the emotional hold. Letting go of the need to understand everything. Letting go of the need for closure from the other person. Letting go of the responsibility for their behavior. This does not happen all at once. It happens gradually as you shift your focus back to yourself, your needs, your growth, your direction. You are allowed to move forward without having every answer. You are allowed to prioritize your well-being. You are allowed to create distance from what was harmful. And you are allowed to build something healthier. As you continue this process, you may notice changes. You may feel more clear in your decisions. You may feel more comfortable expressing yourself. You may feel more stable in your emotions. These are signs of healing. They may feel subtle at first, but they are meaningful. Each shift represents progress. Each step reflects your effort to return to yourself. You are not defined by what you experienced. You are shaped by how you respond to it. And your response is creating something new, something more stable, more clear, and more aligned with your well-being. As you move through your day, ask yourself, what do I need right now? What supports my well-being? What feels clear and respectful to me? Let these questions guide your actions. Keep your steps small. Keep your approach steady. Keep your focus on what supports your growth. That is enough. Thank you for sharing this moment of time with me today. If this scroll resonated with you, feel free to like and subscribe for more. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is one way you can support your healing and protect your well-being today? Your clarity is returning, your stability is growing, and your ability to create healthier, more supportive connections is strengthening, one step at a time. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to move forward. And you are allowed to build something better for yourself.